What's good, man? It's OG Drip, man. This channel where we talk about the spiritual truth and how to utilize energy on a day-to-day basis, man. And y'all check this out, man. Today, man, we got to get on to it, man. Cause I've been seeing a lot of talks and a lot of things going around. Well, you know what I'm saying? And everybody talking about free will. Now, the funny part about it is, if you read right here what free will is the ability to make choices without being determined by external forces, right? It get deeper than that, right? So when we think about stuff like this, a lot of people, the way that they move, they try to move like their life is already predetermined. But this also played a role into things where we see everything is get shifted, where we might see somebody, you know, go to the industry and where they'll be part of the industry and they're chosen by being a plant, right? So we have these things where it comes to no existence. I think the understanding of how people take things is what's wrong. And another thing is, if something is technically prophesied just by saying God knows everything, because God could be just the universe itself in certain terms and pretext, or just saying, hey, wherever happens, going to happen. A lot of people take that and I think they mix it up with saying, okay, that's the control of free will, but it's not. So when it comes down to free will, it's real deep and real simple. Just like what you see right here. Even when it comes to Judaism, the Torah teaches that humans have free choice and are responsible for their actions. Now, the funny part about it is, the people that does not believe in free will a lot of them have the most bizarre actions of how they take on to life. Now, the crazy part about it is, you have a free choice all the way down to no matter what you do, right? We can make this super simple. You can just be like, do I want to move my hand? Do I not want to move my hand? But for them to have a mind game like, okay, someone is playing over it, we got to start getting down to it, because it's starting to make it sound like this is a lot of human stuff going on. So when we get down to getting confused, this is the reason why it gets down like this, because they change things throughout time. So if a lot of people don't understand, even with the Jesus thing, right? If you read in the Bible the way that they got it, it's going to be a lot of confusion and contradictions, because you're not understanding who Jesus actually represents. Jesus represents the Son, right? But also the Son, just like how we live inside of an organism. But how it works, we got organisms that live inside of us. That's how we got bacteria and all this type of stuff that exists, however you want to look at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting down to the terminology, just getting overall understanding. So when we looking at versions of themselves repeating themselves, that's the same thing we see here. So when you think about the Son, is the Son in the physical? Yes, it's in the physical flesh, like as in the physical realm. That doesn't mean that it's actually in a flesh like what we consider flesh as in a human body right now. So a lot of times these people have a misconception of symbolism, so they don't understand things like that. So even when you go down, I'm just saying right now, Malachi 4, it's not a mistake how they spelled it or none of that. If you go back and look at all the philosophers of how they done spoke on it and stuff like that, they all say, hey, this is the point of it. You know what I'm saying? So boom, when we go back to the symbolism originated from early Greek sources, y'all don't understand that y'all Bibles come from this from the beginning, before it got to English. So before we even get into this type of stuff, y'all do not understand the actual meaning of things. So what happens is, people take different beliefs and take different groups instead of having something that they're actually dealing with on a daily. Not a belief, but an actual thing that you're dealing with on the daily. Because when it comes down to God, it's going to make sense. The world was already perfect. Remember that? So they're saying that things is going to work the way that it's going to work. You play with a gun to your head, you're liable to lose your life. You know what I'm saying? You playing with the tree of death, if you want to look at it like that. So you got to be careful of what you biting from. So y'all take it too physical and not realize that the Bible is talking about a holy temple, or it talk about mainly, if anything, the lowest it might want to go is the mind, but it do have parts where it talk about lower parts, but it's talking about things in threes. So I think y'all lose yourselves when y'all go to that. And y'all as above and so below don't add up together. So this is another reason why y'all don't understand the firmament. Y'all don't understand the glass between the thing. Y'all think it's another world outside of the glass. It's not. It's not a space outside of the space that we already see. You get what I'm saying? So this is the reason why people is able to play tricks on y'all and able to make, NASA look good by making it seem like they can go to the moon, got y'all fighting over that, got y'all fighting over other planets, and none of this stuff actually exists unless you using one of their microscopes in order to see. I mean, not microscopes, telescopes in order to see it. So boom, even when we talk about the way that they do these things is like I just said, when they put you against each other, that's part of the religions right here when we talk about genocide. Because I want to bring this in here real quick. Because genocide is basically deliberate destruction of a nation. So this is ethnicity, racial, religious, any group. You get what I'm saying? Where you supposed to be a part of. So like a lot of people don't like to admit this one right here, the Holocaust. So even stuff like that where they basically pin people against their own kind, whether they knew it or not. So it was also using reverse psychology and also using all these other type of psychologists with playing with the human mind of making them think one thing is another. So this is the reason why we got a lot of mental lost people right now, because they don't understand how it's supposed to play out in all three realms. Spiritually, we see how something worked. Where did we come from? We came out of nowhere. Just like right now, if I was walking down the road, it might not be no trees in that grass. 10 years from now, it might be trees. It might be trees growing in that grassland area, however you want to look at it. So the same thing we seeing, just like fish. Right now, you can have 2 fish, and one a male and one a female. Later on, you can have 24 fish. But at the same time, that fish never was in this world. But now that fish is now into this actual world, aka the fleshly world. Not meaning it's just a flesh as in, how we label things like this. No, but the 3D effect of how we see things. The sun is how we see the physical. That's how we see. So people forget like that, and they think that it's like more of a light that they could contain stuff. No, trust me, y'all. These people would have been took over if they could have. So beyond that, not getting too lost. It even got scriptures where multiple times it says something about, look, the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that ye may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints, and what it is the exceeding greatness of his power to us who believe, according to the work of his mighty power, which his worth is in Christ, when he raised him from the dead and set him at his own right hand in the heavenly place. So when we talk about things like that, I don't think y'all understand. That's the reason why they have a set time of the day. So you got even when they got curse words like ready, set, go. You know what I'm saying? Set is being another example of the sun being fixed. So if you know anything about, even if you just throw astrology in there, for example, they have, guess what? The sun being fixed is a fire element, which we talking about is in what position? Fixed, which is represented as what? The sun, which is the 5th house, or some would say the lion. You get what I'm saying? When he comes out, all the planets, the animals, and all that stuff start coming to life, start coming out. Because without the sun, none of it could live. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't get how people get lost into this stuff, but yeah, man. It's cool, though. Y'all, some of y'all got to understand and read between what I was saying, because, man, I'm going through it. I was just reading it real quick. But either way, man, bump that. Getting back to this, even when they talk about Native American times, which they don't like to talk about, the indigenous, Americans, however you want to look at it. Look at this right here. This the burial of the sun. So when it says Jesus the sun burial, and you looking at the pictures and you seeing the disc behind the head and stuff like that, I think people is misunderstanding where the sun burial actually come from. So look, this is the reason why they like to hide Native American stuff when it come down to biblical theories, because one thing about it, when they gave y'all that Bible, it was right after the colonizing years of the Americans. So look, boom, colonization began in 1607 and basically ended in 1783, right? If y'all look at this is where the Declaration of Independence started. This 1776. If you ever listen to people that's like deep in the church, or people that's like, I'm gonna just say myself, because shit, I done figured out that Bible is cost a little bit more than the Bible that we have today. So when you go down and look at the times that these things is published. So what y'all not understanding is the way that these things is wrote now is from the eyes of a colonizer. That's what I meant from the very beginning when it said some of this stuff sounds human. Some of it we can see in real life. But when it's saying that God has all these and God has these physical attributes, it's people getting lost into parading themselves as gods or parading themselves as the authorities of the Bible. So if you look, the Bible, it even says it right here, the Bible is not the same exactly. It's not the exact same Bible we have today. You know what I'm saying? So it's telling you over time, these Bibles keep getting changed over and over and over. So of course you'll get lost more and more to it when they're trying to make things more and more human. So beyond that, let's go to right here. And it's not about what you it's not about using Google. It's about what you Google, how you Google it. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of y'all Google it already in a favoritism term. So I put, can thought and image be man? That's it. Look what it says. Philosophical or religious context. Thought and image can be considered as representing the essence of a human being. The essence. So, like I said earlier, I think a lot of people is forgetting and creating like God in the actual body without understanding that's what it's trying to explain as us being part of God, without them getting lost and thinking that God is an actual human being. You get what I'm saying? So we see where a lot of people get lost at, man. And I feel like a lot of people in the world have this problem. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just no one way to cut this pie either. There ain't no one way to cut this cake. Because they done dig so many holes, we'll have to go back and grab every person out of that hole. And that ain't what we here for. You get what I'm saying? We just here for our own ways of seeing what it is, you know what I'm saying, how things get interpreted and how things can be misled and how it can get misdirected. You could tell somebody something right now in their ear, let them pass it down to 40 other people. By the time it get to that last person, you go down there, you'll realize the whole story done changed. It'll probably be the color changed, the person changed, the situation changed, and a lot of other things just show that a story itself is hard to be held on to, especially when you don't know how to take in it and personally experience it yourself. You see what I'm saying? You have the choice whether you want to experience something or not. You didn't have to play football, but did you want to? Like, I don't even understand how simple that get. And it has nothing to do with something already being foresighted out. Because if you the God of knowing the good and the evil, it would make sense of just saying, hey, whether you take the evil route or whether you take the good route, or whether you take the bad route or whether you take the good route for yourself. I see it before it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, before your thoughts get to your thoughts, it leaves the spiritual realm. So it leaves from with God, going to the mental realm where we call it thoughts and emotions. Then it come down here to the physical. Now we dealing with that. That's the real thing. Like a bright idea, I broke down the things of showing y'all why they have clouds over their head when they having a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Why they use a light bulb as in when they have a bright idea. You get what I'm saying? Because the sun represents also intelligence. So when we seeing these things, a lot of people get lost into it. So even when we said the sun, or you could be the sun, like you could be the star player, you could be the one that this whole movie is after. We see them do that with an actual movie of making a main character. So this is the star, the bright one. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times people don't understand it's the same way how some of the Jesus references in the Bible get misused. You get what I'm saying? Because it's all stolen and it is crafted. It's crafted just the way it's designed for you to have the ability of free will, yet don't use your power for when your power is needed, but yet use your power on people that look like you, think like you, and basically in the same situation as you. But the ones that put you in that situation, they scot-free because you're not worried about who's throwing rocks and hiding their hands. You worried about the people that's getting hit by the rocks just like you is. So when it comes out of this type of stuff here, y'all don't have no actual moral concept of what love is, none of that stuff. That's why all these words is connected to God. Because we're talking about a part of God would be, you know, they just say a feeling and emotion. That's still part of it. That's just a higher part of what we look at. So when we talk about the emotion or we talk about the dark and stuff like that, a lot of people get lost. That's your mind. Can't nobody see what's on your mind until you bring it out into existence. So the same thing we see with a blueprint or the same way we see with a house, we see it come from the mental realm first, then we see it in the physical realm. So I don't understand how people get lost by that. Like, it's literally common sense in the stuff that we live every day of our life. Like, God ain't never changed everything. Like, what part of the Bible makes y'all feel like that too? And then that's another thing. The Bible that y'all have be lost, man. And it don't work for real life stuff. So you're more delusional than the average person. To a person like even an atheist will have a better argument with trying to prove things is more logical without proving the existence of God. But we understand what we talk about is a greater power because therefore it is something greater than us. They're dumb from not understanding how the hell we got here then if it's not a power greater. They're just ones that's going to figure out how to keep themselves from becoming part of that greater power by acting like it don't exist. So they on their own with that. Y'all already know how that go. We all know what that is. You know what I'm saying? But so at the same time, y'all got to understand this. Both of these sides that was made up, this right-handed side and this left-handed side, was already chosen. And you're playing part of Satan's hand, however you want to look at it. And that's not talking about an actual physical thing. This talking about you in the physical world playing out certain traits, playing out things without you understanding the fully divine. So you getting lost into human natures, lower hanging fruit, things like that, man. But either way, hopefully everybody got it, man. That's all I wanted to say on this, man. And shit, that's about it, man. If y'all want me to do a part 2, getting deep in detail, normally these people, I'm pretty sure they're gonna make you, because you know at the end of the day they Google things a certain way and they don't make it simple. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like I just explained, Jesus both the human and the divine. That's what we see. The sun, you can't make the sun. The sun was made from the heavens just like us, though, wasn't it? But isn't it more in a position than us? Like, we can't do what the sun is doing. Like, we're doing it on a small level, like being a small light. But the way that we actually doing it, like bringing light to the whole world without us, like, no, we don't do it that way. So when we say we bring light to things, it'll be just like our influence or the people that see our talent. That's the way that we shine. It's just like how I was explaining the lion coming out there tactic. It's the same way with us. But that's what I'm saying. They have people called the shadow powers that like to throw shadow casting, shadow bending, shadow all this stuff here, where people that got actual talent, actual got charismatic gifts, aka actual Jesus, they don't want that. You get what I'm saying? They don't like the creativity. All these words come from the same thing. If you Google astrology or any of that, the same thing as the 5th house or the Leo constellation. I mean the Leo zodiac. So when it comes down to even that, you can't even get lost in astrology. You get what I'm saying? Because it's about how somebody raised. That's what side of the part they're going to take the most of the chart from too. And it's still predetermined on their mind of how they want to do things. So sometimes it'll be an experience that someone had, and where they supposed to learn from it, they took it the other way and went the opposite way from it. So they went astray because they didn't understand the energy right now. It's going to make you feel like you're supposed to go astray, but you don't. AKA when signs in the opposite signs of your internal houses. So the same way the sun is up above us, we have the sun and the moon inside of us, the way that we call astrology. So when you look at it like that, it's 3 forms of the same thing again. Because right now, if you had a kid or whatever, you'll call him your son, you'll call him your daughter, however you want to look at it. So when it says the Son of God, the Son of God, the Son of Man, it is 2 different terms and contexts that they're talking about. So when people get lost into that, they don't understand. Now we're talking about internal things versus external things about the human being and how the race work, and how nature connects with it. So like I was saying earlier, when you say that below right there and above right there. So if we want to say Jesus is sitting in between the realms of reality, that's how we see it. So the same way I said the realms of reality, let's look at it one more time. Check this out. The physical, the mental, and the spiritual. They just say these the 3 planes. Once again, this one back in the middle. The middle again. The mental realm. So to be like the way we look at Jesus, although it's in the physical, what we could see, it's something where we all could witness that this is the way that we receive light. So when we looking at ourselves in that version, we look like many lights. These are the actual stars without them creating GPSs with diamonds on them and stuff. I mean satellites with diamonds on them and all this, that when they're in the sky they look like, stars. You know what I'm saying? Not the actual star of who we are. So at the end of the day, that's the important thing. People don't realize they're the star player. It's all about you. When it comes out of your life, your world. This is the reason why we shouldn't get so far into other people's world and lane. One thing, like I was talking about earlier, I needed to get back to that. So when we look at what they say the sun is, now what I say the sun is a cloud. Now y'all tell me if I'm wrong from what even NASA say. And if y'all know something outside of me and NASA right now besides your common sense, that you need to let the world know. But anyways, going into it. From a large rotating cloud of gas and dust called the solar nebula. So this is letting us know that's how the sun is made, right? Which collapses under its own gravity, with most of the material accumulating at the center of the to form the sun, while the remaining material is flattened into a disk that eventually become the planets in our solar system. Now, they just told on themselves. If y'all look, I just popped the thing of NASA admitting other planets exist. They just told y'all how they came up with other planets. They're naming it based off the material that was left behind from the sun. So now if people don't know what that means, it's they're saying they're tracking the sun. Now, why do they track the sun? Let's get into how important this is, because a lot of people don't understand that. And let me prove real quick before I go on that the sun is just a big cloud. Now y'all just read, right? Gas and dust is how basically the sun is created. Is how they want to say, right? So when we go to a cloud, what is a cloud? A cloud is the same exact thing, but it's just done in a different way. So when they're explaining the sun, if you guys notice, it's talking about how fusion and friction is happening within while it's going on. So while we see the sun, this is why certain days is separated, where it might be daytime in the U.S., might be nighttime across the world. This is the reason why we see the sun like that. We don't actually see the sun right above our head the way that it's coming from across the world, but this is how it appears to us. So when we say the sun is 22 days back, like if you was in India, your birth sign when it comes to zodiacs will be different than the people that stay in the U.S. because the sun rises in the east first. Now, how do I know that? And let's prove where it comes from for real, because it actually comes from Native Americans. They just went behind them and came up with their own stuff of how, what to call it, and more of a new term with it. That's it. So even when it comes right here to what I was just talking about, it says as a particle to condense, and these particles such as dust and pollen are called condensing nucleus. You see how the same word right here, that's what I want to talk about with the cloud thing. I did have one more slide for y'all with that. So look, do y'all see this right here? Condensation nucleus. So just like a spirit expands and condenses itself and all that, there, the same thing we seeing on a mass scale with our two greater laser lights, or however you want to look at it, above our head. So when it comes down to this, let's talk about something deep, because why is the sun represented like it is, right? So when it comes down to nature and things, we have a balance in between these things. So what we see today is a whole bunch of unbalancing. Well, that's the reason why you don't see even a relationship can't even have balance. Even like, and that goes beyond a boyfriend, girlfriend. Look at the relationship between some peoples and their parents and stuff. And not only that, when they get down to how it reacted to with even nature itself, if you have a unfit, stressed out animal or a stressed out person in general, you normally die off quicker, your organs shut down quicker due to the situations of how you thinking. So when your mental, your mind, not your brain, before it come down into your brain, this is where you getting these things from. So now let me go on to the deep part that I wanted to talk about. Because just right here what it says about the medicine wheel. Because y'all got to understand, a lot of this stuff is already stolen. So when it says Jesus and the 12 disciples, if you was a religious person, of course you feel like it's like that. But no, 12 disciples. And each one of them is cut down to how many? 4. 3 represent each one of them. So just like when we get into the astrology, how you have cardinal, fixed, mutable, it's the same thing as the 1, 2, 3, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. It all goes together. So this is why we see things play out the way that it play out. So even when God cry, how some people used to say when you was a kid, aka experiencing the rain, because this is an emotional time that the universe is experiencing. That's how we look at it. So where there's sun, where the light have produced life, there's something that takes life. So we see a recycle of that. So when we say reincarnation, not only do humans go through reincarnation, but we see the same thing with animals and stuff. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with plants and stuff. It could be a plant being reborn over and over again, but I think people get too physically lost on that. But boom, when we go back to the 4 directions, understanding the first of the directions starting off in the east will be like me just basically breaking down how the natal will look, right? It start off really with Aries, and the third on there, or the last degree of what we'll say the 90 degrees or 30 degrees each sign. That's the reason why they made a calendar basically representing 30 days, but it's off a little bit. So they're measuring the sun. They're not keeping up with whatever you think they is. They're keeping up with the sun. And by, like I just said, by the sun taking time to get over here, they're calculating the time from when it got over here versus the time of across the world. That's why they have things called time zones. Like, I don't know how to make this stuff up. So sometimes you might be experiencing a different time than I may have. If I'm just hitting the beginning of spring, you're still in the ending of winter. You get what I'm saying? Or if I'm in the beginning of summer, you still, well, if I'm in I say it backwards. If I'm in the ending of spring, you're in the beginning of summer if you stay across the water, if you stay on the east side of the world. So when we understanding this, it's not only could be shown in that way, but it's the way that every civilization been looking at it before we got here to get this lost and stuff. So when it get down to the medicine wheel, this is exactly how I just said. It's Aries over here, Then you got this, then you got this, then you got this. But you notice Pisces is at the top, the north. So the same way they just labeled it. And you know, what I wanted to say, Aries right here, Taurus right here, Gemini right here. But what's coming straight south will be Cancer energy, Leo, Virgo. Then to the west of that, like flip inside of the way we looking at it, then it'll be Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. And once again, it's 1, 2, 3 represent each part of the season, being 4 parts of the seasons, and each one of them like 4 times 3, the 12 disciples. So each one of them have a tribe that they control. The back in the days, what it was, the raven controls the Libra constellation. The wolf controls the Pisces constellation. The brown bear controls the Virgo constellation. So each one of those was represented as something to carry out. So when they talk about the 12 disciples, while we all have different attributes, because I don't give a damn what you say right now, you ain't got to believe in astrology. But I bet you somebody is willing to go deeper in a certain area than you is out the gate naturally, because that might not be your lane. Everyone is designed unique. So y'all taking away from what God said in the beginning when he said we all are unique in our own way. So when you realize your way of being unique, that's when you can receive things as gifts. You know what I'm saying? So you're taking your talent and making money for it. So it's actual gifts, not you just being a talent individual that can't use their talent nowhere. You know what I'm saying? How you somebody say you just big for nothing? It's that same type of theory. So when we talk about, you know, the sacred hoop, talk about the medicine, y'all got to think this junk come from before they went and tried to tell us about the Bible and stuff. So before they came over here and said, hey, we step in the Bible in America, we was already talking about this type of stuff. That's why the reason why a lot of people lost, because they starting in the middle of something that had already happened, not from before it happened. So we got to go before we got colonized, before we lost our way. And exactly, now we can find it back to the 4 planes of existence. The physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental. That's also 4 planes. You see what I'm saying? So we also have 3 planes of existence too, of how everything work in the 3. And a lot of people get lost into that. Just like when it comes to the number 13, it's just talking about the sun being represented as the representative going through his 12 disciples. That's why I make it like the 1 or the 13th ghost was the most powerful, or whatever. However they do it, they're going to always make the number 1 and 13 seem like it's either the strongest or the most wise or the one that get the most like and attention. So this is the way that they play these things out. So when we even look at what's called mythology, that's why everybody has their own mythology of what they want to say, hey, this symbolizes God, of them drawing out something. So like the book of Ra, you get what I'm saying? They draw it Ra like a bird face, letting you know he's above clouds, being able to see things from afar before it happens. So this give us, like, you know, more of the prophet energy and stuff. And I'm mad that it take me this long to get to cooking sometimes. But hey, if you listen to this long in the video, that's God's gift. You get what I'm saying? Because you was patient, and that, which is another thing we have to learn. Everything don't work for us, and we got to learn how to be patient, because sometimes things take time, and especially when you got God on your side. So even if you don't know the signs in the sky, when you on that level, you will get the urges and be able to feel 2 things. You'll be like, damn, I feel like doing this, but at the same time, I don't feel like doing that. But at the same time, it's not even indecisive. It's just showing me 2 sides of the story, 2 sides of how everything get created. So even when we come down to that, of how you got here, 2 sides. Even when we talk about the planets, 2 sides. When you talk about Adam and Eve, 2 sides. So when they come down to things like that, these people can't make sense out of this stuff, can't break it down. So that's the reason why they can't learn it for themselves. Because they're learning an impossible thing to learn. You can't learn what somebody did and you're taking it from what's already have been done. You got to learn how to do these things yourself. You can't sit there and be like, I could build a car because when what's the name built the car, I put the motor in it. What? That ain't got nothing to do with the rest of the car. Do you know how to plug up the computer to make sure it's running, do the exhaust system, the CVAX, all that shit, the alignment with the tires, them 2 different things. That's the reason why they use multiple people to build a house or a car, because it's letting you know the teamwork make the dream work. The same way the universe gave us different powers to be able to put our powers together in order to make things happen. Like, I don't be knowing what's going on with these people, man. I'm telling you now, dog. But either way, cooking right now, all that they'll need to be clipped. Everybody need to clip that inside your own mind, make it recycle, and all that type of stuff. Because look, the medicine wheel is used in ceremonies, rituals, and teachings. It is a reminder to live in harmony with nature. All this artificial junk, or even all the way down to the point y'all have artificial intelligence. So y'all faking God now in the intelligence realm too? We got artificial love. When people acting like they love you, fake love, you know what I'm saying? They ain't really there for you. We got all type of artificial shit, even down to the fruit. Think I'm lying. Go think about it. Go sit in the corner and think about it. And if you can't think that way, I'm sorry to tell you, buddy. But it ain't your time, dog. Go sit down somewhere. If you thinking there's such thing as a chosen one and God selected you and all this, that, there, you got main character syndrome. You got hit with the sun too much. You worshiping the sun. And now you see that's the bad way of looking at something. You're not the sun. You have your own uniqueness to be able to do and give back to the world. We all supposed to be working in the world together. The clouds, the trees, the water, the fish. You know what I'm saying? The fish make certain stuff where the plants, that's the reason why the plants in the ocean grow so fast, because of the stuff that the fish poop out. So we have everything helping each other. We got waterfalls, rivers, cycling the water. We didn't need nobody to naturally purify the water. It's just certain water wasn't purified. But now if you want to take stuff and change it, but you notice they can't create water. It's stuff like this, y'all, where it's no way they can run from it. No way nobody can run from it. When I be doing videos like this, I be thinking like, okay, it's over with. I don't even see how people could argue. And they don't argue off of this because they took this in perspective like, hold on. We all know and we all feel like something has been stolen from us or we're missing something. And that missing thing a lot of y'all have is y'all culture or identity of knowing who you is. Yet, you want to be from somewhere because of a bloodline and not understanding the real bloodline and your native way of you keep being born, where you keep choosing. If you're from Mexico, you're from Mexico. You're not from the U.S. of what we're considering it. You get what I'm saying? That it's easy to find your tribe. Where was you born? What county lines was you born in? Now let's go. That simple. I don't know why y'all be trying to go somewhere else. Just like Trump said, even President Trump said, if you're from the U.S. and was born in the U.S., you're from the U.S. If you wasn't born in the U.S., you're not from the U.S. He kept it that simple. Somehow y'all want bloodlines that we all got tainted. We all is mutts, so it don't make no sense. You're never going to find the exact person. Some people just got tainted by their own kind over and over. They might not have that many races in their body, but they're going to be tainted like 9 times out of 10, or mutts, however you want to look at it. And if they ain't, they have a mental thing have happened because there's been so much incest amongst the family. So you can't avoid it. But either way, getting into it, man, I just wanted to show y'all this because it's like people just keep forgetting this. Like, bring these in the argument. Bring these in the argument when y'all going through it with these people, because we got to take our people and hit them across their head with a rock to get them back in the real world. Because they be out here somewhere else. You see this? The nature world. We need to bring them back to that. They done lived in fairy tale world and wishing and rubbing on a genie lamp that they believe in Disney movies more than they believe in actual reality. And they wonder why somebody like me could take Dragon Ball Z, Mortal Kombat, and break it down more than they ever broke it down. They're going to make it sound like spookism and not getting the understanding of why all this stuff even existed then. Like, either way, y'all, I hope y'all have a good day, man. I had to go ahead and add that part to the video. Hopefully people got to this part because, yeah, it's deep, man. Especially when you talk about the medicine wheel being separated into 4 quadrants. 4 times 3 is 12. This is the reason why they get their advanced multiplication from, which is them adding things at a very high limit. So this is letting you know also how they calculate timings of the day. Is the reason why the clock is separated with 12. The clock end at 12 today that we see. Y'all will argue. Y'all so lost, some people. They'll argue with them that the clock don't supposed to say 12. It's supposed to say 13. And they the one made it. How you going to tell the first person that made a clock that they ain't make a clock, coincidentally, to tell the actual time of how the sun actually cycling through life? Oh, how will they know? They killed us. They seen all the pictures of us. They seen us. We showed them ways of us doing the sun dances, marking the sticks, using the 24 sticks, using all these different things, showing them how, or 28 different things are showing them how, the 4 seasons, the 8 hours being separated into 3, this type of stuff here. So they used our shit as numerology for them to capitalize off of. Before numbers, we was doing this as in the path of how it comes. So it was one with nature. We seen everything had a pair, whether the pair was inside of itself. So we see natures of animals that have to breed with a male or a female, and natures of animals that have both of those things into one. So when we seeing that type of stuff, we seeing how these things come out to play. So a lot of it though be behind science and shit. Like that's another thing that just kind of knock off the world and how things work. But basically what I'm saying is we'll see where animals have the maleistic role of being a dominant, and then you might have a race of species where the female is the dominant of those species, or the more aggressive, or the bigger, just like what we see, you know what I'm saying, sometimes. But it just shows that it still takes teamwork to be dream work. Sometimes when people are having too much emotion over their actual action, this is more like a little concept. You get what I'm saying? So either way, that's a whole nother video, man. I'm out, man.